Zara Mahdi says, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. I don't let my kids watch cartoons which have music. They watch some Islamic cartoons, but my husband says I should let them watch cartoons from TV. I told him that because of music, I don't let them watch cartoons from TV. He told me I should not stop them watching cartoons from TV. And he told me that I became extremist. If I keep doing like this, then I should go back to my country. What should I do? Okay, firstly, I want to address the second part of this question, which is regarding the word extremist. The word extremist, fundamentalist, and these types of words, unfortunately, are words that, if you don't like something of Islam that somebody else is doing, then, without any evidence, you just start calling them extremist or fundamentalist. Okay? As for ghulu, which is defined by Allah and His Messenger ﷺ, right? Which is defined by looking at the Quran and the Sunnah, then of course this is haram. Ghulu means extremism, but I'm not going to use the word extremism. I'm just going to use the word ghulu, going into excess, going into excessiveness. And by the way, the opposite of ghulu, right, is also not permissible. Tasahul, or just being negligent, if you like, tafrit, being negligent, tasahul, just kind of being way too lenient, right? Beyond what the Sharia allows us to do. So there are two extremes. Those who are way too lax and those who have gone to ghulu, right? Excessive. But the question is, these two words, being, whether it's extreme on this side or extreme on that side, excessiveness or extreme leniency, being too laxed, these two words, people throw them around, governments throw these words around, newspapers, media, they throw these words around whenever they don't like someone or something from Islam. And this is wrong. This is wrong. The word extremist has been hijacked, right? From various governments, from a number of governments, Muslim governments, non-Muslim governments. They have created entire policies around this word of extremism or extremist. And the problem is, yes, in Islam, we are against extremism. But which type of extremism? One person, if he prays 5 times a day, that's not extremism for him. But somebody else might say, oh, that's extreme. How can you get up in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and pray Fajr? Right? This is extreme. Or a woman, she wears hijab. A man grows a beard. Someone else says, okay, that's extremism. That's way too much. Right? Somebody, doesn't drink wine. Someone says, oh, that's extremism. The point I'm making, brothers and sisters, is that this word, it is wrong for us to use it because it is so vague. It has different meanings for different people. So let's not use these words. We shouldn't use those words. Let's stick to the Quranic word ghulu, right? Ghulu. We should not. Allah says, that He made us, جَعَلْنَاكُمْ إِيش أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. Allah has made you a nation that is ummatan wasata. It's a middle nation. What does this word middle mean? That we just take 2 random people and we stick ourselves between their views? No, that's not what it means. The Quran and the Sunnah themselves are wasat. Right? They're the ones that define wasatiyya, the moderate way. Not Theresa May or not, any government, in fact, Muslim or non-Muslim. They don't have the right to define what is extremism in Islam. Only Allah and His Messenger ﷺ explains this. Why is this important? Because people say to you as Muslims, hey, you know what? You're not extremist, right? And you'll say, yes, I'm not extremist. And then they'll say, extremism is haram in Islam, right? And you'll say, yes, extremism is haram in Islam. The problem with this now then they redefine this word. And then they say, okay, those people who, they prohibit wine, they're extremists. So now it necessitates that you also have to believe in that. Of course, they won't say wine, but they use other examples. But I'm giving an extreme example to show this. Like, for example, certain things which are clear-cut haram in Islam. Clear-cut haram in Islam, right? Such as, anyway, I don't want to go into examples, but things that are clear-cut haram, other people, whether they're governments or media or, nefarious elements of society, they point fingers at Muslims, say, hey, this Muslim, he does this or she does this, she's wearing the hijab, she's wearing the niqab, he's growing the beard, whatever he's doing, therefore he's an extremist. And therefore, they try and put pressure on other Muslims to not do that same thing. So we should not accept this word, we should not use this word, because it has been abused by people who want to simply say that they want to destroy or they want to remove certain aspects of Islam, right? And this is really wrong. What we should, however, do is look at individual things. If what is meant by extremism, for example, killing innocent people, of course it's haram in Islam. Of course it's haram in Islam to kill the innocent people without any kind of reason and, whatever, right? Of course we're against that. But am I going to use the word extremist in a way that is not used in the Quran and Sunnah? No, I'm not going to use that word because it has been abused and it has been, it means something else to different people, right? So it's better not to use that word. Anyway, coming back to your question, I went off on a tangent because I think that's an important point. Coming back to watching cartoons which have music. Now, there is a, firstly, let's talk about firstly music, right? There is a difference of opinion among the ulama about whether music is haram and then there's various other opinions as well. So one opinion is that all forms of music are haram except for the duff drum at times of wedding or at times of happiness like Eid for women only. Other scholars said, okay, beyond that, you could use the duff drum even for men and also at other times. Other scholars said that, or some scholars said music is halal, and they said that the hadith regarding music is weak, and they said, anyway, they had a number of different reasons. Now, I'm not going to go into the details about that, right? I'm not going to go into details about that. I believe that the majority of scholars have said that music is haram. Musical instruments made from string and wind, they are haram, right? And anything that kind of imitates them, many scholars have said that as well, based on qiyas. Okay? The duff drum, many scholars have said is permissible, right? So let's just base our opinion on this, okay, for now. If that is the case, what about, we then need to look at the difference between actively listening to music and where music is being played, but that is not your objective. You're not trying to listen to that music. As an example, let's say you're in the supermarket and music is being played in the background. Another example, let's say you're watching the news, right? You're watching the news and they play some music in the background. Is that the same? Are these two scenarios the same as somebody who's actively listening to music, according to those scholars who say music is haram? No, they don't differentiate. They don't say these two scenarios are the same. So many scholars, they make a differentiation between actively listening to music, so listening to music, and merely hearing music, meaning it's kind of there and it's not your objective. And the reason they do this is because of the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, the son of the Khalifa of Islam, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Umar, he was known for his piety, okay, and his strict adherence to the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu was once walking along with his servant by the name of Nafi'. And Nafi' was the teacher of Imam Malik rahimahullah. Now, Abdullah ibn Umar and Nafi' were walking. And as they're walking, in the background, they can hear music. They can hear what? Musical instruments. Abdullah ibn Umar, he puts his fingers in his ears like this. However, Nafi' does not do that. And not only that, Abdullah ibn Umar tells Nafi', the teacher of Imam Malik, rahimahumullah, that listen, when the music stops, then let me know. Right? Tell me when you can't hear the music anymore. So Nafi', he doesn't put his fingers in his ears. He carries on walking, right? And then he tells him when the music has stopped and they can't listen to it, they can't hear it anymore. Some scholars have said that based on this, this is a reason why some scholars have said that music is haram and you should also put your fingers in your ears. However, this hadith doesn't prove that. This narration doesn't prove that, because Nafi' did not put his fingers in his ears and Abdullah ibn Umar did not tell him to do so, and neither did, in fact he did the opposite. He told him, tell me when the music stops. So he didn't want to listen to it, but he told Nafi', tell me when it's finished. Okay. Other scholars have said based on this that music is permissible, but you know, this doesn't seem to be the case either, because they weren't actively listening to the music. Other scholars, however, they made a very good point, and they said this narration differentiates between actively listening to music and something that's kind of just there, that you didn't put on. It's not something that you specifically put on in order to listen to that music. It's something that comes as a tabi', right? A tabi', something that is an appendix, or it's an add-on, right? It's something that's just been added on. It's not the cause of what you're trying to watch or listen to. So when you're in the supermarket, you're not in the supermarket. Some people may argue, you must not go to the supermarket because there's music being played, therefore you must, and you have other choice, you can order online. Some people may argue that, right? But based on the hadith of Nafi' with Abdullah ibn Umar, that doesn't seem to be a strong view. You can go to the supermarket and, you know, even if there's music being played, right? Because that's not your objective. Even if you are of the opinion that music is haram, which is the majority of scholars, right? But it is hearing. It's there in the background. It's not something you chose to do. Yes, you chose to go into the supermarket, even though you knew that there's music being played. Yes, you chose to watch the news, even though every now and then, you know, music play, or a documentary or something like that. And in this case, the kids' cartoons. Music is played, you know, now and then. But that's not your objective. Now, if you keep away from that for the sake of Allah, then without a doubt, you will be rewarded for that. If you limit, you know, the time for this, then inshallah, for the sake of Allah, of course you'll be rewarded for that. But if somebody does, you know, watch the news, and you know, I've also seen some of our teachers, without a doubt, they're watching the news and the music is on, right? In the background. So, of course, they're not sitting there boogieing and, you know, dancing to this music, right? That's not what they're doing. The music is there in the background. So, in summary, some scholars would say that yes, in this scenario, it's not allowed to listen to music at all, right? Even if it's in the background. Other scholars, they say it is, you know, it's better to keep away from certain situations, which I agree with. But at the same time, if it is there, it's in the background, and you just kind of hear it in the background, then there is no problem because of the hadith of Nafi' and Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu.